first initial consultation, whereas it, you know, when we pick up the phone to call you, it can sometimes be scary, but at least now we have a little bit of a roadmap. Xiomara, I'm going to jump back over to you. So now we know kind of what are we bringing to those first steps, what are we bringing to the table. But is there any way that we can make ourselves look a little bit more attractive to the lenders so that way we're ready to go? What type of things have we already starting, maybe if we haven't opened the AL quite yet, now we're in that building stages. What are some things that we can prepare now to make ourselves more attractive to the lender?
So I think I'm going to echo what Roberto said, and that's just, you know, first of all, what a lot of times if buying any sort of property, whether it's your first home, your investment, right, I would, as a residential lender, I would say this is a investment property that you're purchasing, right? It's a daunting process. I would normally ask people, why don't we just sit down and talk? You know, let's have a cup of coffee and help me understand what your situation is. So piggybacking on what Robert said is understanding where you guys stand now, you know, because I've met a lot of people that are working in other fields. You know, they'd like to open up a assisted living facility, but they're currently working as a nurse, right? So, you know, I got to figure out what your situation is. How are you filing taxes? So I know what sort of loan to offer you, because even as a residential lender, there is creative financing, and I've put a flyer in everyone's bag on the creative financing, especially for those that are self-employed. That may have a 1099. So there's a 1099 program, right? As self-employed individuals, if you are self-employed and have a business, which I know a lot of entrepreneurs are here, you don't necessarily are exposing yourself completely to the IRS, right? You're limiting that exposure, so you're not putting everything on there. So there are creative financing available where, say, we're just using the bank statements, or we're just basing it off of what the rent is versus the mortgage and qualifying that. So really sitting down with me, helping me understand what your situation is before, you know, asking you to fill out an application. And, you know, I have worked for the larger institutions, the Bank of America, Wells, but it's more of a personal, personal relationship and understanding where you are at and kind of meeting you where you're at and figuring out what's the best product for you.
That's amazing. And it's very helpful. Oh, Robert, you wanted to add, yeah?
Yeah, I don't want you guys to get scared when you heard, oh, I need 2 years of tax return. Like she was saying, you're self-employed. You don't really provide too much income to the IRS. And we do have creative financing, especially when you just started. You only need the building. We have loans where it's an investment loan. You don't need to show any income. All you need is credit and asset. And I always tell people, anytime you really want to start doing this, first thing first, check your credit. See your credit history. See what has been reported. If there's an error, to get that taken care of, because your credit score, it's mean a lot.
That's a really good point. I appreciate you mentioning about the credit score, because that's something that if it's an issue now, you can start adjusting it today and then even before the conversation starts.
Mm-hmm. And then also, if you're a business owner, make sure that you're talking to your banker and opening up business credit, right? So not on your personal, but on your business as well.
Good point.
I love
Thank
that.
you. Lisette, I'm going to pass it back over to you. And we're going to talk about misconceptions that owners might have about raising capital for the care businesses. I know sometimes when we start to throw words around like capital, it can be a little bit confusing, and where is that coming? So what are some misconceptions before you did it yourself that may come up for other people?
I believe everything depends on the stage that you are, right? One of them is so many people think that the end goal is raise the capital. And you get the money in your bank account and now done, right? But realistically, no, it's not. Because the challenge starts when you run in the facility. Mm-hmm. When you have the right systems, you have the right staff. So at that moment, you really start doing the journey. So the money is just a strategic tool, but it's not the end goal, right? And another one is I don't have any experience and I cannot get into this industry. And that happened to me as well, because I have a strong background in construction, but I never have an assisted living facility when I start. I have the passion, I have the vision. I look at my own parents, I saw, oh my God, they are getting old. I'm Latino, I never in my mind, I was thinking to put them on the facility, and I look in the mirror and I saw myself, I'm getting old, so the clock is not stopping here, so we need to do something, right? And he mentioned the baby boomers in 2026, the first generation is getting 80. So the boomer or this problematic is here already, so we need to do something, right? And if you have that on your heart and you really want to get into the industry and start raising capital will be a challenge because you will say, nobody's gonna hear me because I don't have any. So I think the power of relationship and networking like the other panelists were talking about is very important, and that happened to me. I was an investor just thinking about money, but when I get in front of the assisted living facility opportunity, mingling with other investors, I have noticed and say, oh my God, I want to get into this game, but I don't know how because I'm passionate to help people. And what I did is I used my skills for renovation to get into partnership with another people. So my suggestion would be like, don't be scared about it and just find the right relationship with people if you really have the passion. Because if you are in this business just for money, you are on the wrong career.
That's a great answer. Roberto, I'm going to ask you a question next, but if you want to add anything to that, because I know you do the capital funding as well, if there's anything.
Yeah, it's, so I can explain it like this. You're looking for one residential home to convert into a facility, 6-bed, 8-bed, I'm not sure the exact licensing. But that is the easy part. Yeah, Carlene will take care of all the paperwork and stuff, but your target is this one residential home. I'm gonna have 6 bedrooms, units, and I'm gonna start my business. I think to me that's the easy part. The hard part is going to number 2, number 4, number 8, or what's Lisette and I do is syndication. So we don't have 50 houses, we have one facility with 50 units or 50 beds inside this facility. So that's just scaling upwards. So to get to that point, you can't do it on your own. You have to find the partners. So networking events, being in rooms like this, just network, talk to the neighbor, talk to this person, that person. You don't know who can help you because each one of us has a superpower. Lisette's in construction. She can't raise, I'm not saying negatively, but if she can't raise $1 million, that's not her superpower. Her superpower is construction. Maybe this gentleman here, his superpower is asset management. Maybe this lady's here is raising capital. She can bring $1 million. So now you form a team with 4, 5, 6 individuals to start scaling the business. The first one's always the hardest mentally, but looking back on the journey is the easiest one. Scaling up takes partnerships and takes teams.
This is a perfect segue and for my next question. If you don't mind just handing us at the microphone, just so that way we don't have the feedback from this one. Sorry, my own. So you'll take Eddie's, yeah, or maybe pass. I don't know. Get the microphones away from each other. Sorry, guys. Just
Good
so
job.
We're not getting as much
Good
feedback.
job.
First time holding
Good job.
So my next question for you is exactly that. So now you have some people in the audience or that are going to be listening to this that already have that first one. Now they're looking to scale and go on to the second one. So what's some advice that you have for ALF operators looking to attract investors to scale to that second, third, fourth property?
I'm your guy. So I use a syndication model to purchase these larger facility assets. I also am a hard money lender and a private money lender, like Lisette was mentioning earlier. I help people go from 1 residential facility to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. Maybe someone in this room has enough money of their own capital to get to 2 or 3 or 4. That's huge. That's a great option. But what if they want to go to 5 to 6? Or what if they want to go from 1 to 2? You go to lenders, get your 70, 80% loan to value, but now you're missing the other 20, 30% plus fees, plus this, plus that. You're missing a percentage. I don't think any bank's going to give you 100%. So you're missing a percentage. If you've maxed out all your savings on the first one, but you have that big vision and that dream to scale, so now the second one, you have the lender 80%, now you're missing the other 20%. That's where I can come in where people like me can come in and partner, whether it be a loan, whether it be equity sharing, kind of like what you were talking about before. You need partners to scale. So now we're partners in your growth. So you can get to 2, you can get to 4, you can get to 8, you can buy facilities. It's not hard.
Excellent, thank you. Eddie, I'm gonna jump on over to you. So we're gonna talk for you, if you don't mind giving us some examples, or maybe even give a real life example of somebody that you've worked with, or situations that you've been in, some of the biggest mistakes you see when operators are preparing to seek funding. Get down to the nitty gritty, because we're all ready for this part too.
So, you've heard this before in different variations, but if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right? A lot of folks, they're so pushed in by their passion, they overlook certain things. They're key elements to qualifying for expansion capital, right? They overlook that their books are a mess, or maybe not up to date. They overlook that they maybe have shown losses because of mismanagement or maybe misguidance of their tax preparer. They overlook that maybe all the lates they had on their credit cards, or their heavy utilization of their credit cards was dragged down the score. So they forgot to kind of take vital signs of their health condition, their health. They need to do like a health physical, right? Am I ready for this marathon I'm about to jump into, right? So you jump into a marathon, you stretch, you're well hydrated. So you kind of have to do a quick scan of your picture, your current situation, see, are you physically fit, financially fit to pursue that expansion capital? If you're not, let's work on those things. So I think that's a mistake I see very commonly. I personally have handheld people and have corrected this, corrected that. Go back to your accountant, your P&L is a mess, we need to move this to this, you miscategorize this. So sometimes it's a matter of putting the apples with the apples and the oranges, but sometimes it's like, listen, the way you filed in 22, 23, we need to stop that. We need to, they always focus on the top line. I'm like, yeah, but your bottom line looks kind of anorexic. You know what I mean? So there's certain add backs. We need to beef up your net income a little bit on your tax returns to see if you could debt service a healthy, size loan, so debt service ratio. So sometimes they overlook it, overthink. They get caught up in the moment. I'm so passionate about going, let's go for it, But no, you have to kind of settle down a little bit, do your homework, take a snapshot of your picture, take a physical, like a health exam of your financials, and see if you're physically and financially fit to pursue that. If not, let's work on those items.
So when they come to you and they're not physically fit financially, you can give them a little bit of a roadmap to come back, get these things in order, and then be able,
Yeah, so that's the advantage of working with somebody like myself versus their own bank. And to be honest, and I said this earlier, most big banks in South Florida don't want to touch ALFs, right? But when you're working with somebody like myself, I handhold them, I have the patience. It's an educational process, and we slowly just kind of troubleshoot and identify areas of correction, areas where we could see opportunities for improvement. So then eventually we get a full, healthier picture and healthier financial package to present to a lender to improve our chances and to get us the financing we need. So I handhold them. The handholding that I bring, I think that's the added value.
Amazing. This is a really good question. I kind of came up with my own question, just whoever wants to jump in. If you're not there yet, you're in just the thinking process stages right now, and we're potentially going to be opening up an assisted living, let's say within the next year. Do you suggest that if they're planning on putting that company into an LLC, should they open that LLC and then come to you with that, or should they speak with you first? Does anybody want to take kind of a picture of what that would look like? Do they have to do the financing in their own LLC or S corp or any type of business?
I can say, like I usually say, caregivers have their heart and experience. Usually what's often missing is a roadmap to ownership. And having an LLC is depend what type of loan that you're gonna qualify for. If you're getting a SBA loan, for an example, an LLC, you cannot close it on an LLC. And SBA loan, why is it more suitable for first-time home buyers, or I would say first-time ALF? Is because it's a little bit more less requirement when it comes to financing. Because if you're going for a commercial loan, you're looking at 20-40% down. And if we're doing a creative financing for you, you're looking at 20-25% down. But you have a chance with an SBA loan to put down 10%. And the interest rate usually a little bit better. So I would say, if you want to start, and do your homework, and talk to your loan officers, to your bank, and then get guidance. Because most of the time you don't really know where to start. And then I have someone who called me and said, I don't have a job, but I want to start. So is it possible? Yes, there's a way we can make it possible. And like he was saying, there's no 100% financing. So you have to have something in the game. You understand? And SBA loan is good, that's because it's guaranteed by the government. So the bank feel more comfortable to lend you because they know if they lend you $100,000, the government guarantee 85% of that. That makes sense.
Thank you. Does anybody else want to add to that?
Yeah, I'll just piggyback on what he just said. I always, advise people to take baby steps, right? So when I was pursuing my finance degree, my professor always said there's two key advisors every business owner needs to have in their corner: a tax advisor and a legal advisor. So the conversation needs to start with those two, in my opinion, and share with those two collectively what you're looking to do to get the proper tax and legal advice together. Then share that with the lender, because I've issued term sheets before to business owners who were very well endowed in their financials, and we just simply put an entity to be determined or to be created towards closing. So the entity structure is important, but it's not like, don't make a big fuss out of it. You need to first get the correct legal and tax advice before moving forward so you can put the right pieces together. The entity structure, it could wind up being an LLC or an S Corp, or maybe an LLC converted to an S Corp, or vice versa, or whatever it is. There's a lot of flexibility in that avenue, but start the conversation with your two key advisors in the picture. Your tax advisor, which is your accountant, CPA, and your legal advisor, a business attorney who knows legal contracts, legal entities, the different entities, and what's better suited for different loans. You take the step from there, then the lender, and then the lender's legal team they're gonna put in their 2 cents on the picture as well. Just know that, because every lender has a legal team behind the scene. That's who puts together the closing docs. So rely on the advice of the legal advocates that you have in the picture, and don't overthink it too much. Just know that there's key people that you have to be advised and put this thing together. So the only toughest thing to do is what do I call this entity?
The LLC name, right?
Yeah. With a creative name.
I love it. So I'm gonna now open it up. I have so many more questions, but I'm not gonna be selfish. I would like to open it up to anybody that has questions in the crowd.
There should be a lot of questions.
We'll start over to the left here, and then we'll come right back over to you, okay?
My question is about wearables. Sir, you said that you take over small and large facilities all across the country, right? Yes, sir. Do you agree?
Yes.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah.
Okay,
I can't see you like every other speaker up here. Sorry.
It's okay. So my question is about the AI monitoring devices and the wearable and the software. So what is your go-to? What do you recommend? Or what do you lean on for smaller facilities?
Like what product I recommend?
Yeah.
She was on stage yesterday.
Oh, you work with her. Okay.
Yeah.
Wearable.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
right.
It's probably the leading in the industry right now.
Is it? Okay. Great. Thank you.
It's a great question. We'll jump over here, and then we'll come right back over.
As a totally new in this field, I'm coming in and I want to start an ALF. I already own a primary residence, so